Welcome back to Bird's Eye View. When it comes to the Orioles, this weekly podcast is your official source for lack of insight and for baseless opinions. Today is December 18th, 2025, and this is episode 419. My name is Jake English.
And I'm Scott Magnus.
And on this week's show, Scott, we'll find out if being a Baltimore Orioles fan will take us to the pain.
And we'll do everything that you want us to do as you wish.
We'll do all that right after we lubricate the show. That's right. It's time for the drink of the week. Scotty, what is your drink of this week?
Jake, you finally did something right. I am drinking water this week. I am preparing for holiday break by hydrating significantly before the gin, the whiskey, the scotch all comes out in merriment in the upcoming weekend and week ahead.
As you know, that water can be tortuous. I am working my way through a gin and tonic. Very exciting about this particular beverage. Garnished with a little bit of lime.
Okay.
From the tree in my office.
You have a lime tree in your office.
I have a lime tree. It is now borne fruit twice this year.
Is that a bush or a tree?
It's a tree.
Okay.
It'll get taller.
Okay. That's what they said about you as well.
It's not all about tree size.
So you're saying the size doesn't matter? It just is what it contributes?
Maybe. The fruit is good. It's good fruit.
It's a fruity office, but we already knew that.
If you're interested to see what we're drinking on a day-by-day, inning-by-inning, pitch-by-pitch basis, you can find us on Untapped. I'm at Jake E4025.
I'm at MEGN8606. And with that, let's go to this week on the socials.
This would be the time when we go to the medical wing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start there.
Sure.
This is a skeet that comes to us from the Baltimore Battery at the Be More Battery. All of us in hashtag Birdland need to send good vibes and prayers out to our guy, John Means, as he announced on his socials that he ruptured his Achilles while training. Ugh. It's worse than that. He ruptured his Achilles while training on the day he was supposed to sign with a major league team.
Yeah.
On the day he was supposed to sign with a major league team and be available for opening day for the first time in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably going to be a minor league deal as it is, but
devastating.
That stinks. I mean, I think we've said this before, but like he's got to be done at this point, right?
I mean, we keep saying it, but it keeps not being the case.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. The next skeet comes from the back Kremnitzer corner of this week on the socials. The skeet goes as follows. We still can't escape him.
Can't we?
I mean, farewell, Cedric Mullins, but it was nice to know you, and we're looking forward to seeing you on Memorial Day, right?
We will see him, 13 times this season?
Yeah, but I think he comes back to Baltimore for the first time on Memorial Day.
That should be a great day.
So clearly we boo him, right?
Jeez. No, that'll be fun.
Fun.
It'll be devastating to see him in another uniform, but it'll be fun to welcome him back.
Yeah, he's going to make some great catches.
Yes, he will. I think he will be troublesome against the Orioles.
We'll see.
Next, we have a skeet from Andy Koska. Skeets at AF Koska. Read at John Mioli. You can just stop right there. John Mioli is a great idea.
Read John Mioli.
Hitting coach Dustin Lind is new to the Orioles, but his ideas have been here for years. I'm just going to say this. I know that writers don't have autonomy when it comes to headlines.
Yep.
But that is not a statement that makes me want to dive in to an article.
No.
I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't listen to Andy Koska. I didn't read the John Mioli.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true? Has Dustin Lind's ideas been here all along?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Dustin Lind has been around baseball with proliferating ideas and stuff like that for many a year. So it's not like he is some new individual to Major League Baseball circles. But again, I think he's a data nerd / as we talked about in the last podcast, I think he's going to bring certain benefits as it relates to bat speed enhancements and some movement conditions and stuff like that. And hey, maybe Tyler O'Neill plays 30 games as opposed to 15 games this year.
Are you saying that Dustin Lind's ideas are the friends we made along the way?
Absolutely.
All right. That's what I like to say.
But yeah, good article. Would highly recommend it. Give the banner a view, and let's see what happens.
And more importantly, read John Mioli.
Correct.
All right. This is the time where we would usually stop for the medical wing, but there just isn't anything to do. And so let's take a quick break. And Scotty, when we come back, let's go around the bases. All right, at first base, since last we left our heroes, the Orioles have taken the polar bear plunge.
All right, let me go ahead and rip his shirt off.
That's not a good idea.
Got the Speedo underneath of here. Let's do this.
You're embarrassing my tree.
All right, well, your tree's about to see something.
The Orioles flashed a whole bunch of money at Kyle Schwarber. Didn't work out. And I got to be honest, at the time, it was easy to think, we're back to Confederate money.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's just perfect.
We participated in the process. Congratulations.
We philosophically participated in driving up the price for Kyle Schwarber.
And yet, here we are. Pete Alonso has signed with the Baltimore Orioles. We did not rush to the mics for an emergency pod. So there has been a lot said and a lot of ink spilled about the Pete Alonso thing. I don't want to repeat it all, but I do want to ask, what do you think of the signing? So what, 5 years, $155 million?
Yes.
Okay. Probably more than I would wanted to give. However, I believe this was posted on Utah Street Report. It's the right signing, and it's the right signing for the right time. It's probably an overspend. You're probably going to be regretting it in year 4 and 5. But in reality, this world and this country that we live in may not exist in year 4 and 5. So,
it's so dark. It's so unpleasant. Find the joy where you can.
Just find the joy while you can for the next 3 years. Cool. For the production that he's going to give us for the next 3 years, that'll be fun. Year 4 and 5 will probably be ugly, but hopefully the next 3 years are really fun.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I'm fine with the signing only because, I think that the first 3 years of the deal are going to be good. And I think that if the Orioles can be believed, and again, we're in the show me state, right? This is a good sign. But if the Orioles can be believed, this is not their entire shot.
No, they still have money left.
Right. And the thing is that the Orioles are very often, we say that, they can't make mistakes. The Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, they can make mistakes.
Correct.
I don't think this would be a mistake for year 1 through 3. But I'm hoping that the Orioles can be believed when they say, we can live with a suboptimal years 4 and 5 because we're going to pay for other stuff too.
Sure. We're going to have some cost.
And if all that's the case, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I will say, outside of him stealing just abusively the home run competition in the All-Star game from Trey Mancini, just pilfering it, I didn't know a whole lot about Pete Alonso before the presser.
Yeah.
Fun presser.
Yeah, fun presser.
I say all the time that these are just pandering exercises.
And they pandered right to you.
It was good pandering. Yeah. It's good fan service. Yeah. The dude wore an orange belt to his introductory presser with the Baltimore Orioles.
You always like accessories.
I do like accessories. The only accessory I didn't enjoy...
Scott Boras?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be there.
Oh, he absolutely has to be there.
No, it's like it makes the whole room dark.
No, he's got a scrapbook where he's just like, and this is when I had this signing, and this is when I had this signing, and this is when I had this signing. It's perfectly fine. I think he probably has more like a Kodak carousel where he's just like clicking through it. He's like Don Draper. It's like, it's not a photograph. It's a time machine. Just going through. Well, some guy comes through.
He was quick to point out that he's almost as old as David Rubenstein. So
yeah. He's an old man.
I'm rooting for time. Yeah, I thought the presser was fine. Super impressed that Pete Alonso was just... those things are always hard for a player, right? This is a guy that's used to being in the limelight, but for swinging a bat and not screwing up too bad at first base.
But you know what makes it easier? $155 million.
Yeah, but I mean, just saying, like, speaking publicly in an environment where you are making your first impression to millions of people.
I get it. You know what makes that easier? $155 million.
There's not much. The $155 million doesn't make better.
Yeah.
But okay, so Pete Alonso, he's going to be an Oriole.
Going to be an Oriole. Certainly, it fills that big veteran bat move that the Orioles wanted to make and had said that they wanted to meet. Feels like it hits the vibes factor that, the team has talked about too, of wanting that veteran player. I like the signing in a vacuum.
Yeah, and to ruin things, you and I talked about this right after it happened.
Sure.
And we talked about exactly that, which is, if this is the move, I hate it.
Hate it.
I'm grabbing my pitchfork, my torch. If this is part of the series of moves in the offseason,
sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna park that there.
Sure.
I'm gonna park that there. Again, the pitchfork and torch just off camera.
Yep.
Just off camera.
You're eyeing it. It is right next to your lime tree.
It's right next to the lime tree. It's keeping it safe.
Yeah.
Let's scuttle over to second base. The Orioles have made some other moves.
Yep.
And some are more meaningful, I would say, than others. So in the more meaningful territory, I would say, is the trade of Grayson Rodriguez for Taylor Ward.
Yep. That's weird.
Brings in a right-handed bat and an outfielder.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding, I'm checking my notes here, he does not pitch.
He does not pitch.
Okay.
He is going to cost $13 million in arbitration in his final season. But it certainly looks like a lot of outfielders that are right-handed are getting paid some ridiculous money right now.
Okay. Do you think his game plays at Camden Yards?
I do.
Defensively?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm a little worried about that.
Sure.
But that's okay.
Is he better than Tyler O'Neill? I think that's the question.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Okay, I was going to talk about this later, but let's do it now. You got Taylor Ward.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Tyler O'Neill.
Mm-hmm.
You got Pete Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully some of our other guys remember how to hit.
Sure.
Right? This lineup could very well mash.
Absolutely.
But you have to find spots for all of them.
Oh, you can find spots. It's all fine. It's all good.
Somebody is going to be DHing.
Sure.
Between Adley Rutschman and Samuel Basayo.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to play left field.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
More than likely.
Somebody's going to play right.
Yeah.
Probably Tyler O'Neill.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Then he's not in the lineup, is my point.
I'm aware of that.
I think that there's a logjam that is going to be problematic.
I think there's a partial logjam, but again, it's also a matter of, there were many games last year where he said, this would be a great time for a pinch hitter to come off the bench. Mm. And then you would look at it and be like, there really is nobody on the bench that I would actually pick as a pinch hitter here.
Yeah.
So do you think there's a significant benefit to having a Tyler O'Neill bat being on the bench and being able to come off and potentially be a fourth outfielder, also not have all three of those guys play every single day? People are going to get injured. So again, I have no issues with it. I mean,
wait, a team with Tyler O'Neill on it's going to have somebody that's injured?
Right, exactly.
But the point we're dancing around, though, is we want Dylan Beavers to be on the field.
Yeah, I do. I want to see Dylan Beavers on the field. And again, if you're going to go against consistently right-handed pitching, I want Dylan Beavers as a lefty to be out there.
But I do wonder, is Tyler O'Neill and Tyler Ward a platoon that is going to work, I guess, from an ego standpoint? Do those guys expect to play every day?
Tyler O'Neill didn't demonstrate at all for me last year that he had to play every single day.
Sure.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, I think Ward will get to play a majority of games. I think he'll get to play 130 games if he needs to. I think Tyler O'Neill is the man looking out right now. I know there was I think it was a post from Koska tonight of like, would the Royals be interested in basically getting someone like a Tyler O'Neill for I think it was Bubeck. And I'm like, that's interesting. Like, so I still think Tyler O'Neill's like on the trade fringes. I think we're going to probably have to eat money.
Yeah, it has no value.
I don't know about that. Like, let's go back to the standpoint of like right-handed outfielders are at a commodity. If you can get somebody that hits decently, and Tyler O'Neill certainly hits decently, he's projected to be, I think, at what do I say? It's like 120 rated runs created plus. That's got value. If you can stay healthy, it has value.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just talking about it makes my neck hurt.
Yeah. Now, again, is he worth the value that the Orioles paid him? Probably not. But if the Orioles come in and say, we're going to pay this guy, for $32 million for the next 2 years, I think it is. We'll pay that down to $20 million, and it'll be 2 years and $10 million to a team per year. I could see a lot of teams saying, like, yeah, we'll do that.
The thing is, though, we just signed Pete Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
It's only money.
It's only money.
We've got we've got Magna Carta money.
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about it.
And again, you look back at last year at the trade deadline, the Orioles took on a lot of money that they didn't need to for getting additional prospects. So I don't think the Orioles are worried about assuming dead money as long as it's making their roster or their farm system better in the process.
Yeah, I'm just worried about this, assuming dead players. Okay, so Tyler Ward, member of the Orioles. So too is Ryan Helsley.
Yeah.
There was some discourse about whether or not he was tipping pitches last year.
Sure.
Whether or not that is either fixable or fixed. But when he's right, he's a powerful asset back there.
Yeah. How fast does he throw?
It's a little bit.
Yeah, he throws 100 miles per hour.
I mean,
you sign people that throw 100 miles per hour. Worst case or worst, it doesn't work out, and you're sitting on a 2-year deal for $24 million, and you're just like, that didn't work out, and you walk away from it. But if it does work out, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
No.
So, it's dead money. In an era of ownership of, if liquidity and things like that were to burn you, that's fine. But, these are the moves you make as a Major League Baseball team if you have liquidity. And the Orioles had a ton of money to play with, and they still have a ton of money. I mean, what are they at? They're 156, I believe it is, off the top of my head from a payroll standpoint. They should be able to spend easily another $30 million. And more than likely, they should be able to spend upwards of $40 to $50 million if we're being completely candid. There's no issue here, in my opinion.
Well, they're giving some of that money to Andrew Kittredge, which I'm putting in the meaningful territory. I was delighted to see them sign him back.
I think Helsley and Kittredge is your 8 and 9, and that's perfectly fine. That is NLDS starter Andrew Kittredge, by the way.
Yes,
or was it NL wild card? Well, anyway, whatever it was,
playoff starter.
Playoff starter, yes.
Do you think the bullpen is done?
No.
I looked at the rest of the names in the bullpen today, and I was like, ooh, I do not feel amazing about that.
Part of that is going to be Tyler Wells is going to come out of the rotation. Mm-hmm. If everything goes right. Tyler Wells comes out of the rotation and comes into the pen.
And you do feel better about building the back with Helsley, Kittredge, and Tyler Wells.
Yeah. And then I think you have to figure out, is Cade Povich going to be part of your pen, or are you going to send him back down to Norfolk as depth for when someone gets hurt? Chase McDermott is a name that hasn't come up often in the Major League roster, but I could see him getting it. But I look at it and I say, you've got Keegan Aiken and Dietrich Enns as your lefties right now in the pen. Enns does not have really good lefty-lefty splits. Keegan Aiken is Keegan Aiken. So, I think you have to go out and get someone that does really well lefty-lefty splits. And I know that the individual that continues to come up is Jojo Romero from the Cardinals, which, again, I'm sure you love from a Beatles standpoint that you can continually make references to the entire season.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
It doesn't.
All right. I think that those are
Hey, get back.
I think that those are so far the meaningful moves.
Sure.
Some less meaningful moves. Obviously, Leody Taveras was signed 1 million years ago.
Yeah.
I don't expect him to crack the roster.
Ooh, I don't know. I think you're going to need someone for center field.
Sure. I think
you don't have Jorge Mateo anymore.
Do you mean you're going to need somebody as a backup in center field? Okay.
So you can put Beavers out there in a pinch. In a pinch,
sure.
And say Cowser got hurt. I'm going to put Beavers out there. But, I think Taveras is going to be one of these guys that's going to bounce between the active roster and minor leagues. They offered him, $2.1 million. I think he's going to float in between Norfolk and the active roster. But I think Taveras is going to be one of those guys that is going to be on the 26-man roster more than you think.
Interesting, particularly when we talk about the number of outfielders that we've got.
Well, again, so let's walk through it. You've got Ward, you've got Beavers, you've got Cowser, you've got Tyler O'Neill, you've got Taveras. That's 5.
That's 5.
That's not that many. It's not that many.
Sure. Okay.
Could you get down to 4? Absolutely, you could in a roster pinch. But more than likely, you're going to probably carry around 5 on the basis for most of the season.
But if you're going to do that, you also can't carry the third catcher that they were talking about and things of that nature.
Well, you could carry a 5th outfielder. You could carry a 4th outfielder. You could carry a catcher, and then you're going to carry an infielder. So you could do it. But your infielder has to be a utility infielder, so it can't be double first basemen, which gets into your, what are you doing with Mountcastle and Mayo?
You're going to trade them both. Yeah. And then
are you going to release Mountcastle and just pay him 1.3? I think it's 1.3 million, and say, we signed Pete Alonso and we are going to basically do a termination pay and only pay you 30 days of whatever your arbitration was going to be for the active season.
If you're going to have to get an infielder like that, you have to bring Ramon. You have to bring him back. It's a rule.
Well, or you could come back to the standpoint of like, if you're not going to carry Tavares, you could come back and say, we need to have Jeremiah Jackson be your fifth outfielder. Because Ramon can't be an outfielder.
Sure.
He can be your backup catcher.
He can. The backup. But the roster, not yet done, but a lot more clarity in places that we thought.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the position standpoint is pretty much done, except for, we'll call it subtraction, and we'll see what happens with subtraction moves. I mean, it certainly looks like Mountcastle and Mayo are going to have to be moved. It doesn't make any sense, where they fit in terms of that 4-man bench. But we'll see. It's a long way to go before decisions like that need to be made.
Sure. But I'd love to have all those decisions made before the holidays just so that I can...
not continually scroll and refresh social media.
Yeah. All right, let's head over to third base. I want to talk about available starting pitching.
Sure.
Dylan Cease off the board.
Yep.
The Orioles really have...
To the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The AL East is loading up.
Yeah.
Blue Jays
are doing a nice job this offseason.
The Red Sox, the Yankees, they're all loading up. And the Rays...
Well, the Yankees, not so much, but...
And the Rays are getting Cedric Mullins.
Yeah.
No, I agree. The thing that makes it harder to swallow how bad the Orioles were last year is that the Orioles didn't take advantage of a overall down AL East.
Sure.
But 3 avenues to get starting pitching.
Sure.
You've got free agents.
Yep.
You've got some trade targets.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the possibility of posting a player from an international market.
Okay.
So what do you think is the most likely?
I think the most likely is free agent signing.
Really? Do you think it's going to be a free agent signing that you like?
So I think the 3 are Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, and I think Michael King. Like, those are your 3. Those are your 3 that you're picking from.
Michael King.
I think at the end of the day, if they go with a Ranger Suarez, I'm going to walk away and say, I'm glad that they made a signing. I'm extremely concerned about the longevity of the contract, but I'm probably going to say that for any pitcher. But for Ranger Suarez specifically, with the velocity down recently, I'm going to be somewhat concerned. But in all honesty, if they go out and get somebody like Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez, or Michael King, I'm going to feel much better about the season. It's going to be like the Pete Alonso signing for me. It's going to be like, great. I'm really excited for the next 3 years. And this is for all 3 of those guys. But I'm really nervous about back ends of contract at that point.
If they get one of those 3 guys, do you consider the shopping to be done? Or do you think that the rotation needs to have a solid, lesser starter injected?
I think they still need another starter because then, you get out someone like a Cade Povich from your rotation. You don't want Wells in your starting rotation, ideally. So, I mean, I still think you need to go out and get one more additional pitcher. And it's just a question of how aggressive do they get at that point? Or do they say, we made our big signing from a pitching standpoint. We're going to hold back now. And we're going to get someone that, is a 3 or a 4.
I think if they went out and they got somebody for the top of the rotation, I would be fine with them signing somebody that I go, yeah, okay, I guess. That's a solid major league starter, I
mean, let me throw this out at you. If they went out and got Ranger Suarez, for example, and then they said, we've come to an agreement with Zach Eflin to come back into the rotation. How would you feel about that?
I'd take that.
I don't know how I would feel. Like, I would feel like that's not bad, but I would feel like,
That's one of those things where I feel like Zach Eflin's floor can be decent and his ceiling is attractive.
Yeah.
Right? That's the kind of player that I would expect them to get if they get a top-end starter. My problem is that I'm burned as an Orioles fan, and I just expect them to get somebody whose ceiling is intriguing, but whose floor is not exciting. So far more likely.
So again, if they went out and got, let's call it Ranger Suarez, and then they said, hey, for our 4th starter, we're going to get Justin Verlander.
I don't know. 2 years ago, maybe you would have.
I mean, you love Justin Verlander.
I do indeed. I'm not so sure that's still the case. The trade targets are all out there. I'm really intrigued by what it would take to get Joe Ryan.
I think there's no chance that Joe Ryan is traded now, unfortunately. I think I would love to have Joe Ryan or Pablo Lopez, but I don't think it's possible now. The fact that the Twins own minority shares and there's new ownership in there, I think it would look really bad for them to be like, we're going to go ahead and trade starters.
I'm not familiar with the concept of ownership not being an embarrassment.
Yeah. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the messaging that was coming out at the winter meetings is saying the Twins are not going to trade, and then details coming out of the new ownership group in there. I don't think Joe Ryan or Pablo Lopez are on the trading block.
Well, poo.
This is why I think that the free agent signing is going to happen. You start looking at the trade standpoint, you're like, they could happen, but in reality, it's going to take some big offers in order to basically make people move from complacency to, we want to make that trade specifically in the winter and not wait to the trade deadline.
I feel like I should be more confident, I guess, with the Pete Alonso signing, but man, until I see it, I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
That not only what you're basically saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what you're basically saying is now the Orioles have to go sign somebody, and it has to be one of the top guys in the market.
What I'm saying is the Orioles just bought a really nice pair of cufflinks, but they have no suit to wear with it.
The suit pushes back, though, right? All the pressure is on the Orioles.
Yeah.
All the pressure is on the Orioles, and they haven't shown that they're good at this.
Right.
All right, let's go to home plate.
Sure.
Because I want to talk about our level of satisfaction.
Okay.
All right, we're talking about the things that the Orioles might do. We're talking about some guys that they brought in.
I thought this was a Beatles podcast. Why are we talking about satisfaction?
Feeling a bit helter-skelter in this capacity. I realized at some point that I have just been really angry with the Orioles for a while.
Oh, you just realized.
I didn't realize that I had just been a pent-up ball of rage at this team.
I'm glad you finally went to see a therapist. It was really a good move by you.
Since failing to meaningfully try to improve the team in the 2025 offseason and then having the wheels just fall off in the 25 season and then have this incredibly tone-deaf treatment of fans and season ticket holders during and after the season is weird because we have lived through some just terrible Orioles baseball.
Yes.
The dark ages, the period in between what we hope will be winning.
And yet you embrace those times.
Yeah. I found all of the ways to make those periods fun.
And last year, you couldn't figure a way to make it fun.
There were times where I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I so invested in this team that clearly isn't invested in trying to make it worth our while to pay attention?
Right.
I'm trying to get out of that zone. And
so you're telling me that Pete Alonso signing has brought you back in?
The Pete Alonso signing has thawed. It has started to blow away some of the pissed mist, but it is still there.
Are you telling me that a polar bear thawed your heart?
Not quite. Again, the pitchfork is right next to the tree.
Okay.
All right.
Just want to make
the
sure.
pitchfork and torch are right next to the tree. And Scotty,
Is this why the icicles are all melting in the North Pole? Is because polar bears melt things?
I had been writing revolutionary Orioles songs. I had a whole suite of Les Mis crossover tunes. The thing is, how satisfied are we going to be with half measures from the Orioles? If the Orioles stop here and they get an underwhelming pitching rotation together with hopes and cellophane, how are we going to handle that? Because I got to be honest, I'm not sure I'm going to handle that well.
I think most Orioles fans are going to handle that of cool, we've got a really fun team that has to hit a lot of dingers, but if we don't hit a lot of dingers, then we're not going to win games. And I think that's been the commentary. I think people enjoy Pete Alonso, but I think as the games progress and the Orioles lose games 12-10 or something like that, I think it'll be very quick of people will be like, I've seen this before. Yeah, it won't be thought out. I just keep thinking about the Golden Compass now and the polar bears and
I've been thinking a lot about this. If they go and
the Golden Compass?
No. I have not considered that.
Okay.
If they go out and they get a real honest to God pitcher, right? And then they add somebody else to their rotation. If they try,
Sure.
and it just doesn't work this season,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be quite as pissed. Like, I'll be disappointed, sure, and I'll be frustrated that it's another lost season, but I will not be angry with the Orioles the way I have been over the past year. I think that's where I've landed. I think if they try and it doesn't work out, I can live with that.
Okay.
Because I've lived with it not working out part. I'm over the not trying.
Okay. Let me spin it on you.
Okay.
We're going to blow up the show notes. We're going to blow up the show notes. Let's say they go out there, try. They've got Pete Alonso. They go out and get a top of the rotation starter. But again, stuff happens. It goes bad. Injuries occur. Yada standpoint.
It's baseball.
It's baseball. They don't make the playoffs. And then they go into the next offseason. We've got 2 years left for Gunnar. Are you trading Gunnar? And let's say the Orioles come back and say, like, this is our time to blow it up, trade Gunnar, and remake the team once again. Is it all over again at that point for you?
I mean, are you saying they're going to go through another 5-year tear it down, everything sucks rebuild? Or are you saying that they're going to tear apart part of the core?
Let's say they're going to tear apart part of the core away.
I think I can live with that.
Ooh.
Because look, if they say, guys, that's it. We've gotten too close to the edge. We need to trade away some of the core. We're going to get rid of Henderson. Do I love that? No. Do we still have Jackson Holliday and Jordan Westberg? Yes. Do we still have Colton Cowser? My point is that
But those guys are not 6'4" guys.
I get it. If they think they can do something with it, sure.
Okay. I think it's great that they're going to spend money, and if they do spend money, like we're discussing, and they get to 180 to $200 million. Number one, I think there's going to be a lot of fans that are getting excited about it because they're going to feel like finally we're spending the Masson money, and I think you'll see an uptick in attendance. But as we always say on this podcast, winning solves everything. No Elias joke in there, but there's somewhat of an Elias joke in there. But yeah, I mean, I think you'll see an uptick in attendance. If the Orioles do not succeed this year, though, after spending a bunch of money, I don't think fans are going to be upset. I think they're going to be like, well, they tried. But I do think that in the front office may pivot immediately then and say, well, if that didn't work, it's time to start blowing up the core. Which at that point, if Gunnar leaves, I think you might be okay with it. I think the common fan's going to be like, well, here we go again. It's Dark Ages all over again.
I mean, they do have to sign somebody, right? They signed Basayo, but you have to sign some of your guys.
Allegedly.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Winning teams sign some of their guys.
Yeah, allegedly. But yeah, right. So again, I'm they've got to go out and sign a starter, just like we talked about. They've got to go above 500, and they've got to, I would say, compete for a playoff spot. Even if they don't get to the playoffs, they've got to compete for a playoff spot. Honestly, I still think, like, if you go out and sign a starter, and frankly, if you go out and sign 2 starters, this is a top 10 team. There's no doubt in my mind this is a top 10 team. You look at the position player standpoint, it's a top 5 position player team. If you go out and sign 2 top of the rotation starters, or even top of rotation with a 4th starter, you're looking at probably a top 10 pitching team at that point. Like, that's a team that should easily be able to fight for a division and or get a wild card spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's October. Who knows what happens in October? Hopefully you win a playoff game so that story and messaging can be over with. But who knows? It's October.
I also agree that this team might be very fun. Might be very fun. Because you look at what they can do offensively if everybody posts up. It can be a very like I've watched a bunch of the discourse online about, oh, what do you do about this lineup? At that point, everyone else could just boggle it every night. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, when you're trying to figure out which of these yahoos can lead off, because they're all...
So I think this comes back to, I agree with you. I was playing around the lineup standpoints. I'm like, this is actually harder than it is. And that's actually a good thing, because in in years past, even with a really nice lineup, can close my eyes and literally write out in a lineup. But in reality, you've got a lot of unique individuals, and you have a lot of unique individuals that if they get hot for a period of time, you can throw the lineup in a completely different fashion. If Jordan Westburg is absolutely in fuego, he can bat 1, 2, or 3. If Adley goes on a crush, great. He can bat 1, 2, or 3. So you have a lot more flexibility. What you don't want to get into is what we saw at the end of last year, which is, well, it's Jackson Holliday, so he's fast, so we're going to put him as leadoff hitter. This doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, I do think there's a greater degree of lineup flexibility because you have a lot of talented individuals that can hit for power, hit for contact, and again, get on base.
I think also what we have offensively is we have a large margin of error. All of those guys don't have to click for the lineup to be powerful.
No, I agree.
All of those guys don't have to click for the lineup to work. But if all of those guys are clicking for a little while, it's going to be like 2 weeks of just dominance.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's not baseball. I mean, people are going to go into these cold stretches, and the team is going to go in cold stretches, and that's fine. There's a lot of talent there in the lineup, and we'll see what happens. The lineup is certainly better now than it was last year, with the Pete Alonso signing, with the Tyler Ward signing. And again, there's still opportunities there. At the end of the day, this team wins or dies by, does Adley Rutschman play as a individual that he was drafted as? Does Gunnar Henderson maybe not return to his 2024 form, but does he return to, again, a 6 to 7 to 8 WAR player that he should be? Does Jordan Westbrook stay healthy? Does Jackson Holliday once again take a slight improvement in terms of his game? And then the ultimate wild card is, what the hell happens with Samuel Basallo? Does Samuel Basallo come out there and potentially pulling Manny Machado and go absolutely in fuego in his sophomore year? Who knows? And that's baseball. It's fun. You don't know.
And can Taylor Ward and Tyler O'Neill be useful? And if not, can Dylan Beavers take on a full season? Again, there's that whole, next line of defense there.
I mean, like I said, as much as, the Alonso signing is pumping out the standpoints of home runs and stuff like that, that's great. But going back to an old school stat, I mean, for a majority of the season last year, Alonso was right there with Cal Raleigh for the RBI lead in Major League Baseball, which tells me, what does he do well? He puts contact on the ball. And that is what the Orioles failed to do in many instances of driving runners in scoring position. They eventually got better with it, but for a long period, they were like, how can they not hit with runners in scoring position? So I think that's going to be a big boon for them to have the breakthrough hit every so often, either from Ward or Alonso. But I mean, like I said, no argument. At the end of the day, though, if you don't send a top rotation starter and you go into the season with Tyler Wells and Cade Povich in your rotation, you're not going to win. It's as simple as that.
You're going to lose a lot of games 8-6.
And maybe more than that. And your bullpen's going to get destroyed. They're going to get hurt. And it's just not going to work out. So we are in an incomplete mode for the offseason. But at least the Orioles are taking actions, and they took actions early on. The Kittredge signing, like we talked about before, it wasn't a signing, it was a trade. The Kittredge trade was a really good instance of you took an action really early on before now we're seeing the relief market be, I wouldn't say it's weird, but it's definitely more aggressive than I think most people thought it was going to be. Now we're just waiting for the shoe to drop, and I think it's Amai. Where does Amai end up? Does he end up at the Cubs? Does he end up with the Yankees? Does he end up somewhere else? And that is really going to set the stage for, where does Framber Valdez go? Where does Michael King go? Where does Ranger Suarez go? But I think we're waiting for Amai to make his decision.
So when we get back together here in January, do you think we will be able to have decided what to do with these barricades? Do you think it's going to be resolved by then?
I think so. I think by, we'll call it third week in January, I think we'll know where this offseason took us in terms of, was this a successful offseason? Going back to our last podcast, what grade does it get? And right now it's still incomplete is the best way to describe it. But they have made certain moves that make it very possible for them to get a really high grade at this point.
Okay.
They're just missing the biggest piece.
They've done a lot of work except for all the important stuff.
They're halfway there.
Great. All right, let's leave it there at incomplete. What a better place for the Bird's Eye View podcast to
I
end.
had to say that is such a bird's eye view thing.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll blow the save. Scotty, exciting times to be had.
Is it?
I know somebody who will be going to spring training this February.
Yeah. My son is turning 13, so not as old as your kids. Like, they're ancient. My kids are still young. But yeah, we're going to take our 13-year-old boy to spring training for the first time. We are going to go to the opening game at Ed Smith Stadium. I think they're playing the Yankees. Yeah. We're going to sit up on the first base side, first row, right by the bullpen area so that he can try to get some autographs. And then we're going to go sit up in it's not the upper deck, but, the upper level for the second game on Saturday. And then head home on Sunday. So, yeah, it should be a great time. We're going to do all the fun things of, going down to Siesta Key, going to the beaches. We've got a sunset fishing charter booked for him. So that'll be fun. And then we're going to go to a steakhouse in Sarasota. His name is Connor. The place that we're going to is Connor's Steakhouse. It'll be a fun time.
Good times.
It'll be a good time.
Very much looking forward to hearing about it. It's one of my favorite places in the land.
Yep.
Should be an awesome time.
Yeah, should be a good time. Pictures will be had.
I'm going to challenge you to be better than me.
Okay.
That's
tough.
It's really not. About 10 years ago, we went on, maybe not 10, 8 years ago. It's been a while. We took a tour of Ed Smith Stadium. It was really nice. We were down there for Thanksgiving. My family does Thanksgiving in Siesta Key. And I think it was like 6 of us, and we went on a tour. It was really nice. It was just us. And I thought this year for Thanksgiving, it would be nice to go back and do it again.
Sure.
And they said, yeah, we don't do that.
You were in the experience.
Okay. Well, I mean, you used to. And they're like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. It's like, oh, okay. So do me a favor. Call the Baltimore Orioles. See if you can finagle your way into a tour of the Ed Smith Stadium facility on a non-game day.
I might just reach out to him and be like, can I get media credentials?
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. Gotta think about these things.
Well, that is our show. Remember, you can find this in our entire catalog of indispensable episodes at birdseyeviewbaltimore.com.
Bird's Eye View is available for download wherever you get a podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify if you have to, and many others. And please remember to rate and review the show. We appreciate the feedback. It encourages other people to listen for the first time.
Come and get social with us. You can email us at contact@birdseyeviewbaltimore.com. You can find us all over the social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Snapchat, and while it's still legal to do so,
I think it's good now, right?
Well, they've got some things coming.
Really?
It's about to be sold. Okay. You can find us on the Ticks and the Talks, but we are settling in very nicely. Thank you very much. Over on Orioles Blue Sky at Bird's Eye View BAL. And with that, Baltimore and beyond, I'll bid you all a fun. Adieu.
Good night, Baltimore. Be safe out there. Let's go O's.
I'll have what she's having.